I, Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic. I, Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic.
Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening and welcome to another episode of the Douglas Ducote Show. You had many places to be tonight, but chose to be here with me, and for that I am forever grateful. Thank you very, very much. Tonight, our first two stories are going to be about what's happening with our border and what this current administration happens to be doing at the moment about it. But also, breaking news just came out a few minutes ago, actually. You may have all heard of the Texas mass shooting that took place several days ago. The mass shooting suspect, accused of killing 5 neighbors, to include an 8-year-old child in Cleveland, Texas, has been taken into custody by law enforcement. 38-year-old Francisco Orpiza was taken into custody by in the Cleveland area by a Border Patrol tactical unit. It's a developing story, more to come of this. What we do know so far about him from what they've released is that he's an illegal immigrant. He's been released in the U.S. several times after being arrested. He's been deported several times. Big, huge, long criminal history. And as far as I'm concerned, these new angel families that are now have come up because of his actions, the blood of their loved ones is on the hands of our Homeland Security Secretary and this current administration, and they're lying ass about what's happening on that border. So thanks to the Border Patrol for taking this guy into custody. Moving on, Representative Andy Biggs of Arizona said the Mexican cartel are preparing to flood the United States southern border with between 700,000 and 1 million illegal immigrants when Title 42 is lifted in an effort to overwhelm U.S. Customs and Border Protection. He said, I just got off the phone with a county supervisor from my state, sits right on the border. They just had a briefing with the sector chiefs from San Diego through Yuma to Tucson. They're told that there's between 700,000 and 1 million people massing south of the border, that when Title 42 goes away, the cartels have planned to overwhelm the system. Biggs said during an appearance of Steve Bannon's War Room. Representative Biggs said the CBP does not have enough resources or personnel to keep them in detention and processing facilities. When those facilities get full, they're going to just take pictures. They're not going to do anything else other than that with processing. They're just going to take pictures. We're lucky if they even get fingerprints before letting them out. Then they're going to release them right into the local communities along the border. It will be unlikely, if anything, we'll ever see these people again, Biggs added. Biggs said CBP officials are telling local officials, I'm sorry, you're screwed. In March, U.S. Border Patrol Chief Raul Ortiz testified that his agency does not have operational control over the nation's border after months of recorded surge in illegal immigration. And Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas continues to come out and lie and say the border is secure. And when asked by Congress last week if his chief of the Border Patrol is lying about the border being unsecured, the Homeland Security Secretary said, yes, he is. When Representative Mark Green asked Ortiz during a congressional hearing if the Department of Homeland Security has operational control of our entire border, Ortiz replied, "No, sir." Ortiz's admission contradicts Homeland Security Alexander Mayorkas, who said we do have operational security over the entire U.S. border during a hearing that was held this past April. In both incidents, Ortiz and Mayorkas were shown the U.S. government's technical definition of operational control, which means the prevention of all unlawful entries into the United States. So, look, Joe Biden, why do you allow this guy to sit out there every day and make a fool of you and your administration? I mean, you do a good enough job as it is by just talking, but to allow this idiot to still have a job, just more proof as to why you need to go away. Title 42 refers to Title 42 of the U.S. Code, which confers that the U.S. government, with certain authorities in the name of public health, social welfare, and civil rights. Under 42 U.S. Code 265, the U.S. can block entry into the country by people coming from areas of known disease outbreaks. President Donald Trump enacted 42 U.S. Code 265 during the initial COVID-19 outbreak in 2020, which gave the U.S. the added ability to automatically expel people who cross the border illegally. Now, the Biden administration could keep Title 42 in place. Not because of COVID, which they claim is over with now, but because of this border surge that's about to take place. So, I want you to think about this for a moment. Do you remember when Trump was in office and he was doing everything in his power to secure our border, and the Democrats doing everything in their power to stop him from doing it? He talked about activating not just the National Guard, but activating active duty military troops to go to our border and help secure it. And the Democrats up in Washington, D.C. went absolutely batshit crazy about this idea. Cannot happen, will not happen under our watch. That is not their job. You will not do this. Right? Y'all remember that? I do. Democrats were staunch opponents of former President Donald Trump's deployment of U.S. troops to the southern border in 2018 to encounter caravans of migrants attempting to enter the country illegally. President Biden, however, has taken similar steps, approving the decision this week to send 1,500 active duty military soldiers to the border, in addition to the already 2,500 National Guard soldiers the Department of Homeland Security says are already deployed there. The news, which broke this afternoon, has left Democrats in an awkward position, and with party leadership staying largely silent on the issue. Fox News Digital reached out to House Minority Leader Heckham's Jeffrey, a Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, about the deployment, but did not receive any responses. The silence runs in stark contrast to Democrat sharp condemning of the Trump administration sending more than 5,000 active duty soldiers to the border in October of 2018. More than 100 Democrat members of Congress, including Jeffries, sent a letter to the Defense Secretary, James Mattis, at the time, opposing the deployment and accusing Trump of exploiting the migrants attempting to enter the country. Biden's decision to send the troops comes amid concerns that tens of thousands of migrants will surge into the country once Title 42 is lifted. Title 42 currently allows for the rapid removal of migrants encountered at the border due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which we've already discussed. The Biden administration has been pushing to end the order since last year. U.S. soldiers will come from a variety of active duty Army units and will serve for 90 days in mostly administrative and transport roles to free up law enforcement and border patrol, according to U.S. officials familiar with what's happening. According to the military, the soldiers would be armed for self-defense, but would not assist law enforcement. So basically, they're going to go down there and they're going to take over the position that Border Patrol has had to send a bunch of their agents to do, which takes away from those protecting our border, and that's babysit these migrants and kids. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre reiterated this point during the daily press briefing, telling reporters the soldiers would not be interacting with any migrants and would be regulated to transport and administrative roles in order to free up law enforcement personnel. So, that's a two sharpened edged sword, my friends. Number one, they should be not 1,500 of them. There should be just activate the entire United States active duty military and send them to the fucking border to be done with this once and for all. It would take less than 7 days, and that'd be the most secure place in America. But no, the Democrats won't do that. We will send 1,500 active duty troops to the border for administrative roles and to free up the Border Patrol agents that are babysitting migrants at the moment so they can go to the border, which they already don't have enough people to, even if they put all of them on the border, every single one of our border agents on the border, it wouldn't even come close to what we're about to experience. Yet the Democrats are silent. They weren't silent when Trump did it. Oh no. They went absolutely batshit crazy about what Trump did. Biden does it. Well, it's just like everything else. Many of the policies that Trump had or did, Biden canceled, then came back and reiterated them again. Democrats didn't say shit. But when Trump did it, oh no. That's called hypocrisy. That makes them hypocrites. So, let's move on to more crazy, absolute batshit crazy things that are happening right now. What could be worse than the liberal ideology infiltrating our schools and destroying the brains of our youth? We've talked about that many times on this show, of how the far left has managed to put teachers from kindergarten up to 12th grade and college professors in our universities teaching that America is no better than any other country, that the American flag is racist, that saying the national anthem is racist, that standing up for the national anthem is racist, that police are racist. Everything's about race and how the white man are nothing but racist bigots. That's what they're teaching our youth. You think it could get worse than that? Think about that for a moment. What could be worse than that? How about this? Pennsylvania's, and I'm going to pronounce this the way I think it's supposed to be, Saucon, S-A-U-C-O-N, Valley School District must allow the Satanic Temple, TST, to use school facilities for its after-school Satan Club as courts continue to examine a civil rights lawsuit filed by the ACLU of Pennsylvania in late March, according to a Monday ruling from a federal judge. That's right, Satan worshipers. We've already removed the Bible from our courthouses, from our schools, prayer from our schools, prayer from our ball games. So let's let the kids be educated by Satan. You couldn't make this shit up if you tried. Absolutely no way. The ruling follows a lawsuit which alleged the district allowed the club to use school facilities, but later rescinded permission, citing a policy regarding the use of such facilities should not interfere with the educational programs of the school. The group alleged the walkback violated the free speech clause of the First Amendment. John Gallagher, a federal judge in the U.S. District Court of Eastern District of Pennsylvania, issued a preliminary injunction requiring the districts continue to give the after-school Satan Club the rights to use its facilities. When confronted with a challenge to free speech, the government's first instinct must be to follow expression rather than squash it, particularly when the content is controversial or inconvenient. Nothing less is consistent with the express purpose of American government to secure the core, initiate rights of the people, the ruling read. Although the Satanic Temple Incorporated objectors may challenge the sanctity of the controversial named organization under the First Amendment protections, but they must be prevailable. Indeed, in the First Amendment, our freedoms to practice religion and expression, our viewpoints on religion and all topics we consider sacred. In the lawsuit, the ACLU of Pennsylvania noted that religious organizations, namely those with Christian affiliations, were allowed to use the facility without complaints, therefore creating a double standard. The Satanic Temple Program Director, June Everett, Juneverett, said in a statement that the after-school Satan Club provided a critical space for students with certain beliefs to feel welcome, while accusing the school district of discriminating practices. By prohibiting the Satan Club from meeting at school facilities, the district is sending a message to the club's students that they are second class and don't deserve the same opportunities as their peers. Everett's comments read in part. Monday's ruling answers the ACLU's request for emergency injunctive relief made in its complaint. A tweet shared by the Satan group Monday held the outcome as victory for free speech and religious freedom. They're teaching that America is bad. They're teaching our kids, they're brainwashing them. It's the kind of shit that Hitler did to the German youth. And now, let's interject Satan. Sounds kind of like a Saturday Night Live skit, doesn't it? I wouldn't doubt it if Saturday Night Live doesn't pick up on this and they actually do a skit about it. But it's not funny. In fact, it's sad. It's pathetic. The core values of our country are rotting away right in front of our faces. We are caving to less than 1% of the population. Whether it's a guy wanting to pretend to be a girl or a girl wanting to pretend to be a guy. I don't know. I'm at a loss for words as to how to express how I feel about this, other than to say that I believe it's wrong. And I believe there is no place in our society to teach our children anything different than what our forefathers designed and built for us to carry on. Now, once you become an adult, if you want to cut off your private parts and change sex, go for it. If you want to trash the Bible and worship Satan, go for it. But what we're doing to our kids and our school system and what our government is doing to our kids with all this transgender bullshit is wrong. It's absolutely wrong. Let's talk about something else that's absolutely wrong. Of all the states in America, can you name the states that would not allow slavery in the history of America? That's correct. There were states, there were a few of them, where that wasn't allowed. Everything that happened in the South, for instance, with blacks, there are a few states that was not an issue at all, ever, period. Blacks were treated just as equally as were whites. There was no slavery. We're talking about California. At no time in the history of America was slavery ever part of California. Look that up if you don't believe me. Now, California likes to be the leading state of everything that doesn't make any goddamn sense, right? Well, here we go. California's reparations task force, which we've talked about here on this show before, is preparing to recommend that the Golden State apologize and issue down payments to black residents as a way to make amends for slavery and discrimination, although the state explicitly outlawed slavery when it joined the Union in 1850. The task force, created by a state legislator, signed by Governor Gavin Newsom in 2020, on Monday, yesterday, published more than a 500-page of documents that indicate its plan to recommend California issue formal apology for slavery and racism and consider payments of varying amounts to eligible black Californians. The draft report also recommended a slew of policy changes, including banning cash bail, a controversial move that some have blamed for increase in crime in areas that have adopted it. Economists predicted the preliminary estimate in March that California's reparation plan would cost the state more than $800 billion. The state that's already in red. The task force, which consulted 5 economists and policy experts to arrive at the number, said at the time that the total didn't include compensation for property that the group say was taken unjustly or for the devaluation of black-owned businesses. California's total annual state budget sits at roughly $300 billion. Excuse me. However, the task force's latest batch of documents, which include a drafted final report and agenda items to discuss an upcoming meeting, don't contain an overall price tag. Instead, they outline ways California could calculate how much money black residents have lost since 1850, when the state was established, through today due to discrimination. Calculations would vary depending on how long a person has lived in California and the type of racial harm that person suffered. The final report suggests dollar amounts that have been lost for specific types of racial discrimination, indicating that those amounts should be paid back to black residents. These estimates include, for example, $2,352 per person per year of California residency for the over-policing of black communities, $3,366 per person per year of residence for discrimination leading and zoning, $13,619 per person per year of residence for injustice and discrimination in health, and $77,000 per person for black-owned businesses losses and de-evaluations. Task force urges in its latest documents that eligible Black Californians receive cash down payments as soon as possible while waiting for the full amount of the money lost due to racism and slavery to be calculated. Given that the process of calculating the amount of some of the losses and determining the methods of structure for issuing payments can involve a lengthy process, the task force further recommends that the legislation make a down payment with an immediate disbursement and a meaningful amount of funds to which members of the eligible class, the documents state, describing such payments as substantial and the beginning of a conversation about redressing the economics and social harm of historical injustices done to Black Americans. Beyond raw dollar and cent, the task force also proposes several policy changes to combat racial discrimination and for California to issue a formal apology enacted by the legislation and signed by the government for slavery and the anti-Black racism. The reparations program would be overseen by a new state agency that would determine eligibility for the disputed funds, according to the task force report. A final report with the panel's official recommendation is due by July 1st of this year, delivered to the state legislation, which will then decide whether to implement the measures and send them to the governor's desk for signing. Now, I reported on this several times already. Here's the bottom line. This is what they want. Let me just cut through the jargon. Right now, basically, everyone that was born in California, regardless of your age, if you're Black, you'll get approximately $300,000 to $600,000 per year. By the end of 5 years, they want it to be $1 million. Every Black person in California born there, regardless of the fact that California never had slavery, regardless of the fact that none of these people that would be receiving this money had anything to do with being a slave or that their ancestors were slaves. That shit happened in the South and many other states, and it was a horrible time in our history. I, for one, will tell you that the whole slavery thing, I wish it never would happen, because I'm sick of fucking hearing about how I'm responsible, because I'm white, for what happened to people or their ancestors, because it didn't happen to them. I don't have white privilege. I've worked my ass off for everything I have, period. All my life I've worked. My father's white. My father picked cotton in the fields in Bucky, Louisiana, next to Black people to get money to pay for his flight training to become a pilot, and got his pilot's license before he ever even knew how to drive a car. Racism wasn't a thing for us in this society. I'm 61 years old. Are there racists out there? You bet your ass there are. Of all colors, not just white people. I tell you who hates Black people more than probably any other race? It's Hispanics. And you want to know who most of the Black races hate the most? Hispanics. You know, it's sad. It's sad that we're having this conversation. It's sad that this ever existed to other humans. But it's not my fucking fault. It's not the fault of people in California who never had slavery in the first place. But yet, they're moving forward. And that's good for them. Look, if you're a Black person out in California, you should fix to become a fucking millionaire and have a shit ton of money. It's great. More power to you. But the ideology behind it, look, this coffee mug has more common sense than these fucking people that are running the state of California do. Okay. The IRS. Recently, I talked about all the things that the Republican House now is doing to combat the money going to the IRS that was going to be used to hire a shit ton of IRS agents, new IRS agents that will be law enforcement officers too, that will not only be able to come to your house or your business and audit you, but also be wearing a gun and a badge. And if they find that you broke the law, they can arrest you too. And there's no due process like we normally have for people that are tax cheats. Nope, they arrest you on the spot. You're guilty until proven innocent. Well, the IRS and our government has found a way to get around what the members of the House are doing right now with that money. So I hope they're paying attention to this. The Internal Revenue Service is going to hire special agents who will be able to use deadly force and conduct surveillance in all 50 states and U.S. territories, according to a job posting on the agency's own website. Go check it out for yourself. Special agents will be part of the Criminal Investigation Division, described as the agent's law enforcement branch, which is designed to combine accounting skills with law enforcement skills to investigate financial crimes. The major duties of the job, including a willingness to participate in dangerous assignments and life-threatening situations. Carry a firearm. Must be prepared to protect him or herself or others from physical attacks at any time and without warning, and use firearms in life-threatening situations. Must be willing to use force, up to and including the force of deadly force. The IRS website job description states, USAjobs.com expands on the job duties, which include conducting and participating in surveillance, armed escorts, digitary protection, undercover operations, execution of search and arrest warrants, seizures, etc. IRS agents must be willing to carry and use a firearm, the website reiterates. Maintaining firearm proficiency is mandatory, it states. And eligibility for the position, if ever convicted of a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence, unless pardon or the conviction was expunged or set aside. The IRS is offering a salary of between $52,921 to $94,228 per year for the special agent position. There are currently 350 positions available. For years, the IRS has run a recruitment program called the Arden Project, targeting high school and college students. During the program, participants were given tactical vests and fake guns to carry out mock arrests of individuals wanted for tax-related crimes. Dixie State University in Utah hosted the program, which allowed students to express exercising a person wanted for tax evasion. Now, since this story came out, newsflash, Dixie State University, you're going to have to change your name because, oh, that's racist. In one scenario presented to the students, IRS special agents targeted a small business owner of a landscaping company, according to IRS data. More than half of the audits performed in 2021 targeted taxpayers making less than $75,000 per year. Additionally, over 40% of audits were aimed at taxpayers who received the Earned Income Tax Credit, which is measured to help reduce poverty. So let me read between the lines for you if you haven't figured this out yet. Because those in power that be protect those that make big bucks, millions, although they claim they're going to go and tax them all the time and how they're going to pay for all these programs they put in place. That doesn't work, and they've already figured that out. So now they're going to go after me and you. That's right, the little guy. Those that make under $75,000 a year, out working your ass off, expect to see audits on a more frequent basis. Expect to have the IRS knocking on your door to audit you. That agent having the power to arrest you on the spot. That's where the Democrats are going with this. Because there is no other way to pay for their proposals. There is no other way to take care of this trillions of dollars of debt we have. They've run out of options. But they still got you. And they're sure going to go after you. An attorney in former President Barack Obama's administration, the president of a private New York college, a left-wing political activist, and the current CIA director were among those scheduled to meet with convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein before his mysterious death in 2019, according to the Wall Street Journal report. The journal obtained Epstein's private calendar, which revealed meetings with now CIA Director William Burns, Brad College President Leon Botstein, Obama White House counsel Catherine Rumer, the left-wing political activist Noam Chomsky. None of their names are found in the Epstein flight logs or his infamous contact book, the journal reported, but the document showed the sex offender scheduled multiple meetings with each of them after he had served jail time in 2008 for a sex crime involving teenage girls and was registered as a sex offender. The purpose of the meetings is unknown. The purpose of the meetings is unknown. CIA spokeswoman Tammy Kupperman told the journal that now CIA Director Burns met with Epstein a decade ago when he was considering leaving government service. The director did not know anything about him other than he was introduced as an expert in the financial services sector and offered general advice on transitioning to the private sector, she said. Now, I want you to think about that for just a second. If you are the director of the CIA and you don't know who the person is that you're going to go to for financial advice if you leave service, you're either the dumbest son of a bitch on the planet or the press secretary is lying their ass off to cover for you. The CIA director didn't know that Jeffrey Epstein was a fucking pedophile. They had no relationship. The relationship between Ramir, who is now a top lawyer at Goldman Sachs, by the way, and Epstein was professional, a Goldman Sachs spokesman said, adding that Epstein connected him with legal clients, including Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates. I regret ever knowing Jeffrey Epstein, he said. Chomsky told the journal that his relationship with Epstein is none of your business, adding that he knew him and we met occasionally. Botstein, who has dozens of meetings scheduled with Epstein, told the journal he was trying to solicit donations for Brad College. I was an unsuccessful fundraiser and actually the object of a little bit of sadism on part of the dangling pedophilia support, Bonstein said. That was my relationship with him. We looked him up, and he was a convicted felony of sex crimes, Bonstein said, noting that the college offers a program that provides education to prisoners. We believe it will be a rehabilitation. Jesus. Okay. To be transparent here, all right? Donald Trump also met with Epstein several times, as did many, many other celebrities and government officials, to include President Bill Clinton, who not only met with him many times, but per the flight logs of Epstein's private jet, Bill Clinton took flights with Epstein to his private island, where we all now know many orgies were being held with underage girls. Yeah. So I've done many stories about Hunter Biden, and we've been talking about Hunter Biden. The whole news, well, not all the news is talking about Hunter Biden, but many of us are talking about Hunter Biden. There are several things that are pet peeves of mine that really, really just irk me and make me sick. One of those happens to be deadbeat parents. Parents that refuse to support their children. Now, many, many things have come out about Hunter Biden with his crack use and all the shit that's being investigated right now, and the gun issue where he threw it in a dumpster, and his influence with China and Ukraine with his daddy and the businesses. They were making millions of dollars for businesses that nobody knows anything about. It's unbelievable. The laptop, all the emails, the investigation that's going on by not just the FBI, the Department of Justice, but also by the current House. So what else can we lump Hunter Biden in there with? Besides being a drug addict and a horrible fucking person and a criminal. Lundy Alex Roberts. Lunden, Alex Roberts. Y'all know who she is? She is the mother of Hunter Biden's 4-year-old daughter. And the daughter was named Navy, N-A-V-Y, Navy, Joden Roberts, who both President Biden and the First Lady refused to acknowledge as their 7th grandchild. She happened to be a former stripper, which is probably why they refused to do this, but it's not the little girl's fault, okay? What her mother did isn't the little girl's fault, nor is it the little girl's fault that her daddy, Hunter, was a crackhead. But the Bidens don't see it that way. She was a former stripper at Maffairs, a gentleman's club in Washington, D.C. Roberts had a brief affair with Hunter Biden for about 5 years ago, resulted in a pregnancy. Not long after, he ended a torrid affair he was having with Haley Biden, who was the widow of his brother who died of cancer. That's right. If you didn't know that, his own brother dies of cancer, so then he turns around and starts fucking his brother's wife. The Bidens are some sick pieces of shit. All right? If you haven't figured that out yet, you're living under a damn rock. Both Roberts, 32, and Hunter Biden, 59, appeared in person yesterday in Batesville, Arkansas, before independent county circuit judge Holly Meyer. The judge ordered that both parents be present for proceedings and can no longer only send attorneys in their ongoing child support case involving the daughter. The girl was born in August of 2018. So let me stop for a second. Here's the first thing. First thing is Hunter or his daddy do not want to recognize that the girl exists at all, although she does. Second thing is the mother wants to change the daughter's last name to Biden. I don't know why, but she does, because that's her dad's name. And the Bidens are fighting that in court, so she can't. That's how bad they hate this child who's done nothing wrong. It's just a little girl. Just because her mother was a stripper and her daddy was a fucking crack whore himself, they're going to blame the little girl for this. A paternity suit was filed in May of 2019. The same month, Hunter Biden married his second wife, Melissa Cohen, with whom he now shares a young son named Beau, after his late brother, who died in 2015 from brain cancer. Beau, by the way, is rolling over in his grave because his brother fucked his wife, and his daddy goes around telling people that he died serving in the country in Iraq, which didn't happen. Unlike 4-year-old Navy, the 3-year-old Beau is often photographed at the White House with both his father and president grandfather, both recently during the annual Easter egg roll, for instance. A January 2020 order, Meyer declared following a DNA test that Hunter Biden is the biological father of the girl. Referred in the documents as Baby Doe. Robert's modest Instagram profile, which has slightly more than 6,000 followers as of Tuesday, featured several photos of the daughter she shares with Hunter Biden. Most recently, she shared a photo of the blonde little toddler with a pink bow in her hair during a trip to the beach. The caption quotes Nakia Gill reading, "Her mother told her she could grow up to be anything she wanted to be, so she grew up to become the strongest of the strong, the strangest of the strange, the wildest of the wild, the wolf leading the wolves." In another photo of the girl's birthday last year, Roberts described her as my world. "Happy birthday to the greatest blessing. God knew I needed you. I love you always and forever," Roberts wrote. Navy is seen wearing a black sunglasses, an Air Force t-shirt, and matching white, black plaid shorts and a blazer. Her mother quoted Gill once more, writing, "And in all the stories my daughter shall hear, it will not be the princess that slayed the dragon, the little girls that believe in magic with big brave hearts and even bigger dreams." Roberts and Hunter Biden reached an agreement in 2020 over the child's DNA testing and child support, but the case was reopened when the president's son requested adjustments to the payments. In December, Roberts requested her daughter's last name be changed to Biden, with her attorney writing in a motion. The Biden name is now synonymous with being well-educated, successful, financially accurate, and politically powerful. Biden's team demanded an explanation into why a name change would be in the child's best interest. In court Monday, Hunter Biden's new attorney, Abel Lowell, argued that the president's son has been paying $20,000 per month in child support, amounting to $750,000 paid so far. According to page 6, Roberts graduated from Arkansas State University in 2014 and enrolled at George Washington University, where she attended classes during the summer and fall semesters in 2015 in pursuit of a certificate program in forensic investigations, but she did not graduate from college. In my peer, she reportedly danced under the stage name of Dallas. Around the time Roberts became pregnant with his child, Hunter Biden was reportedly making at least $83,000 per month while sitting on the board of Bernice Holdings, one of Ukraine's largest natural gas companies. Hunter Biden's ex-wife, Catherine Brewer, to whom he was married from 1993 to 2017, detailed years of his alleged alcoholism, drug addiction, and infidelity in a book that she published last year. So, look, lots of children are born with one parent or the other parent, or in some cases, both parents, being not very good, productive members of society. All right? That's not the child's fault. Nobody asked to be born. Two humans, male and female, unless you ask the left, then male and female can have sex and produce a baby. Back to reality. A male and female get together and produce a child. You're responsible for that child. You should take responsibility for that child, especially if you're making $83,000 a month. And that's just a minimum. We now know, and they need to update it, it's way more than that. China paid the Bidens millions, as did Ukraine, for business dealings. But yet, Congress is unable to find a single business that they ever fucking owned. And now we know from the laptop and the emails in the laptop, and for Hunter Biden's past business partners, the millions were paid to get access to Joe Biden when he was vice president of the United States. That's what's coming out in these hearings. That's illegal. That should send, well, it would send me or you to fucking prison. Will anything happen to Joe Biden? No. Will anything happen to Hunter Biden? Doubt it very seriously. Because that's not how the FBI and Department of Justice work anymore. They're now part of the Democrat Party. They only go after Republicans. They don't go after Democrats. Democrats aren't held to the same standard that Republicans are. And if you don't understand that concept, or you don't believe that concept, then you're fucking not reading the paper or watching the news or paying any attention to what's happening in our society. The Department of Justice and the FBI have been weaponized by the Democrat Party. That's just facts. It's factual information. It's sad. I hate to see it that way. Now, at the lower level, back away from Congress, it's not quite that way. The FBI and normal field offices across the country go after people regardless of if you're a Republican or Democrat. They don't give a fuck. But when it comes to the powers and the elites in Washington, D.C., they only go after Democrats. Prove me wrong. We're watching it happen. We've been watching it happen weekly. They're not even trying to fucking hide it. The illegal shit that they're getting away with is astronomical. Right in front of our faces. The leaders of the Department of Justice and the leaders of the FBI are some of the most corrupt humans on planet Earth. And they're smiling and laughing about it. That's the part that just fucking irks me the most. And they're going to get away with it. Just like James Comey did. The illegal shit that James Comey did is on record, on fucking video at press conferences, telling the world he did. should send him to prison. But it doesn't. Because, there are people that are above the law. The Democrats say they're not. There are. According to the Democrats, the elites of the Democrats, Hillary Clinton's, Obama's, Biden's, they're all above the law. The only reason they haven't indicted Donald Trump for the Mar-a-Lago raid, the only reason is because right after that, we found out that Joe Biden did the exact fucking same thing. Not only as vice president, but as a member of Congress. He had documents all over the fucking place. If it wouldn't have been for that, trust me, they would have indicted Donald Trump. Not that they're not going to try and do it later down the road, but right now they're sitting back going, fuck. Well, there was that investigation. Anyhow, folks, you have many places to be tonight. Chose to be here with me, and for that, I am forever grateful. Thank you very, very much. Don't forget to tune in this coming Thursday for another episode of the show. Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. Central Time, right here. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. Ring the little bell so you get notifications. Also, go check out DouglasDucote.com, our website. In the description of this show and all my shows and all my videos, you can see the locations. You can follow me on social media. Please go there and follow me there, and I'll do the same for you in return. That's how we make this work. That's how we spread conservative information across America. To continue to do what? Piss off the left. And man, there's nothing more pleasing than to make them squirm. Those lying, cheating, satanic-loving, Satan-worshiping, Antifa freaks of nature that walk among us, being pissed off and upset that people like me have a platform to expose what's really happening in this country. God bless you all. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving in the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders, and their families. Our angel families, our blue and gold star families, and our country. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless each and every one of you. I'll see you again Thursday night right here. Take care, everyone. Have a blessed evening.